invasion in the history of mankind. Americans, British, Canadians were steaming across the English Channel towards Fortress Europe. Nazi Germany was prepared. They'd been preparing defenses for years because they knew at some point we were going to invade mainland Europe and there was going to be a fight. And that day, as all those Allied soldiers started hitting their beaches, they were not having success. Wave after wave of Allied troops met steel, withering fire, machine guns. If you've seen movies like Saving Private Ryan or The Longest Day, you get a depiction of what it must have been like on those beaches. We weren't going to win that day. Fortunately, a man came ashore. His name was Brigadier General Norman Cota, the highest-ranking man to come ashore that morning on the Normandy beach. And he looked around him, and he knew that this was a critical point, not in the history of this invasion, but in the history of the world. He knew that if we failed right there, it could be years, maybe decades, before we had enough manpower, equipment, and most importantly, the resolve to attack mainland Europe again. He looked around, he saw fear. He saw hesitation. If you've been in the unforgiving crucible of ground combat, you know that leads to your death. He was not going to accept that day. So he found a group of men hiding behind some barriers, and he said, "Hey, what outfit are you guys with?" They responded with 4 words: "Sir, we're the Rangers." General Cota knew that he needed a guy, men, soldiers, who could move further, faster, and fight harder than any other soldier. Words from our creed we still recite today. And he responded with 4 words back to those young men. He said, "Rangers, lead the way." And from that day, that's where we derive our motto to this day: Rangers lead the way. And if you look at the history of that, if you've seen, again, Saving Private Ryan, because that's the depiction that probably most of us have seen, those Rangers took up their courage and they moved out with Bangalore torpedoes, rifles, grenades, hand-to-hand combat if necessary, and they breached Fortress Europe. They would not be denied that day. Great time in our history, but more importantly, those small actions by small groups of incredibly courageous men liberated Europe. And here we are, 70-some years later. Rangers still leading the way. Every armed conflict since then, most recently Afghanistan, Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Operation Eagle Claw, Rangers, parachute in, seize airfields, kick in people's doors, find them, kill terrorists, kill enemies of our nation. Those are the hard facts, the sad truths, so to say, that people don't want to talk about. But it's a brutal business, and it takes a brutal type of person to do those things. And yet we have young men and women who continue to sign up in our armed forces year after year who want to go fight for something greater than themselves. And so we're honored to have all you folks here today. And so our tribute today is to the U.S. Army Ranger. But more importantly, we're incredibly honored and humbled that all of you decided to spend your day here with us today. So in closing, before our demonstration begins, I just want to tell you that we've got a great program today. We're shooting guns, we're cooking barbecue, we're doing demonstrations out here. We're going to do this again about 1:30. So if you missed this one, that's okay. Tell your friends, come out. We'll do this again later in the afternoon. So on behalf of the Command Sergeant Major and myself, we want to welcome everybody out here today, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you.